Okay, showtime. Representing us for the 6th straight year out of our 8 years, Shannon Cake, as you know, is, for those of you who should know, has been anchoring a new show on Channel 5. It's called The Now. It starts at 4 o'clock. Shannon addresses local issues with everyday citizens in the Tri-County area and also the Treasure Coast. Shannon and I have been working on this program together for several weeks now. We've shared a lot of laughs, had a lot of fun, a lot of work, and we're honored. I'm honored. The committee's honored that she's here to be part of it again. As far as I'm concerned, there's no better professional in the media than Shannon. So with that said, I would like to have Shannon come up. Ladies and gentlemen, Shannon Cake.
Thank you for having me back this year, Frank. It's an honor, as always, to be part of this event, and I mean that sincerely. This is my favorite event to be part of all the MC events that we do throughout the year. 6 years, I know, when we were putting this together, I was surprised. A lot's changed. The room, I think PGA National is moving the walls back a little bit, getting more tables in. List of honorees seems to be growing bigger and bigger, which is really nice, and the nominees, too. So the only thing I told Frank when we met was that he seemed to be making the print smaller than 6 years ago, to which he answered, "No, that's your eyesight. Welcome to the 40s. And I said, thanks. So I brought back up, and I may slide them on here. So that is different after 6 years. Very quickly, some programming notes. As Frank mentioned, we're live streaming on WPTV.com. Proud to do so. If you have family or friends who could not make it, please text them really quickly and let them know that they can watch you here at this amazing event and this ceremony today. Also, something different than 6 years ago. You know, when I did this event the first year, Frank, we were talking about maybe we'd get some coverage, maybe I could get a reporter out here, maybe we'd get a quick soundbite on the news. And I would go back to the TV station and they say, we couldn't get out there, we had breaking news and really sorry. And I'm sitting around looking at my editors and saying, guys, you're looking for a lead story. I have 30 of them, and they were all in the room, and it was valor, and it was, you know, courage under fire, and they were victims, and these are great stories. You don't have to go searching for one out there. They all looked at me like I had 3 heads. 6 years later, though, this year, I'm very excited. Michael Williams, our main anchor, met with the Chief DuVoe, yesterday. We're doing a big piece tonight. Thank you. How can you tell a story like this in a 15-second soundbite? That was amazing. So our audience on PTV.com got to share in that if they were watching. And tonight, Michael Williams will be leaning in journalistically and doing a really beautiful piece. Ashley Walters as well. So throughout the evening tonight on WPTV, we'll be carrying these beautiful stories that are right here in this envelope. With that, we have 153 nominations encompassing federal, state, and local law enforcement. Today's nominees were all selected by their respective agencies. Every agency, by the way, every agency's liaison then reviewed all of their respective nominations to ensure all the required information was accurate and complete. Then the nomination was forwarded to the awards committee. Individual committee members then categorized each nomination and identified nominees who felt they were outstanding. The group then met as a committee and selected all of the honorees. All voting was done carefully and with great respect. All nominees, as you've heard the committee members say, are really truly winners. So it really became a difficult task for the crew on how they would come to the final names. Here is how this program will work in the next couple of minutes. For every category, I will read the nominees. When you hear your name, if you'll go ahead and stand and be recognized, and audience, if you'll hold your applause until all the nominees are announced. The honoree for that category will then be announced, and then you'd come to the podium where you'll receive an award. In the event that the honoree is not present, we would ask that an appropriate member of his or her agency would come forward to accept the award. And we're also asking, by the way, that each of the honorees, sheriff or the chief or other top command staff person, accompany them to the podium to present the award. So now, it is my pleasure and honor to begin announcing the names of the nominees in our first category. For the category of Peers Award, the nominees are From the Delray Beach Police Department, Sergeant Nicole Guerrero, Officers Michael Barbier, Kevin Grubb, and Casey Kelly. Please stand. From the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, Investigator David Fowler. From the Florida Highway Patrol, Trooper Nicholas Lasso Silver. From the Fort Pierce Police Department, Sergeant Rodney Nieves. From the Martin County Sheriff's Office, Sergeant Bruce A. Pinkman. From the Palm Beach Gardens Police Department, Officers Jeff Sewell and Jason Sharon. From the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, Detective David Duplantis. Applause. I'm still sniffling from your amazing story, sir. Excuse me as I do that. The honoree for the category of Peers Award is, from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, Detective David Duplantis. Detective David Duplantis. Detective David Duplantis has distinguished himself through exceptional meritorious conduct in the performance of his duties. He has served in the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office Fugitive Warrants Unit for almost 5 years, 2 of those as a member of the U.S. Marshal's Office Fugitive Task Force. It is an understatement to say warrants detectives apprehend some of the most dangerous offenders that a law enforcement officer will ever face. The requisite to be a successful detective in this unit requires strong investigative knowledge and persistence, which is driven. Detective Duplantis' consistent performance, there we go, see they're hazing me, demonstrates all of the above, but to a higher degree inspires confidence and a mission focus beyond what is expected. Detective Duplantis came into our unit already with a vast amount of past investigative experience as a former agent with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and the assignment of PBSO's Violent Crimes Task Force, where he played a pivotal role in both the investigation and RICO prosecutions of several SIR 13 gang members in Operation Laugh Now, Cry Later. I always love these operation names. I'd love to be in on the meeting where you name them. All right, and another lengthy investigation, by the way, of Top 6, netting the arrest of many violent gang members for crimes which included narcotic sales, weapons offenses, arson, and murder. His can-do and will-do problem-solving posture, emotional intelligence, and intuitiveness has served the Fugitive Warrants Unit time and time again. This is why we selected him to participate in the U.S. Marshal's Fugitive Task Force, where he was assigned most of our most difficult cases, which required investigative techniques outside of our unit's capacity, and most often under what some would say insurmountable challenges. During his 2-year span on the Marshal's Task Force, Detective Duplantis was responsible for arrests of 317 violent felons, wow, 148 alone in 2014. His performance on the task force was done consistently and professionally, serving as an example to newer members of the team and seasoned veterans alike, always representing both PBSO and the Marshal Service to its agency values and highest standards, or representing, pardon me. Detective Duplantis has always welcomed new challenges, recognized the dynamic role that both the Fugitive Warrants Unit and the Marshal Service has been making, and the quality of life and how it's making quality of life better for our community. Detective Duplantis is on his way to be promoted to the rank of sergeant, and sadly, he will be leaving the unit. His legacy, though, will live within the unit long after his promotion, serving as an example of how to. It gives the nominator, in this case, great honor and pleasure to nominate Detective David Duplantis for the prestigious ASIS International 2015 Leo Awards Peers Award, a recognition well-deserved. Detective David Duplantis.
Hi, my name's Sergeant Alex Perez of the Fugitive Warrants Unit for Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. David is out of town right now. He's celebrating his wedding anniversary. He's out on a cruise. So we at the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office are very proud of his work and diligence throughout his career and what he continues to do. Thank
Get reorganized, make sure Next is, help me out, Frank. Are we doing community policing next? My script got out of line. All right, yes, I'm back on track here. Here we go. For the category of community policing, the nominees are, Delray, you knew where I was going, right? From the Delray Beach Police Department, Officers Rachel Van Ness, please stand, and Joseph Grammatico. From the Juneau Beach Police Department, Officer Stephen Smith. From the Martin County Sheriff's Office, Public Affairs Department. How did we jump? Stand by. Here we go. Public Affairs, as I was saying, Public Affairs Coordinator, Tricia Kukufka. From the Palm Beach Gardens Police Department, Sergeant Paul Rogers. And from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, Sergeant James Hightower. Corporals Matthew Ott and Brian Cullen. Deputy Joshua Newcomb. Detective Gabe Carino. From the Palm Beach County School District, Police Officer Samuel Berkman. And from the Stewart Police Department, Officer Brian Bossio. Please stand and be recognized. And the honoree for the category of community policing is, from the Palm Beach County School District Police Department, Officer Samuel Berkman. Officer Berkman has done an outstanding job this year with the implementation of the Gang Resistance Education and Training Program called GREAT, and because of his hard work, was made the coordinator of the School Police Department program. The GREAT program consists of life skills curriculum with decision-making techniques aimed at reducing confrontation and disciplinary issues within the 4th and 5th grades, as well as middle school. Only certified law enforcement officers who've been trained by the National GREAT Office are allowed to teach this program. The main goal of this program is to prevent youth crime, violence, and gang involvement while developing a positive relationship among law enforcement, families, and the young people to create, of course, safer communities. That's what we're going for. Since being tasked with coordinating the program, Officer Berkman has created an environment of constant positive communication with all 16 of our certified officers to offer support and guidance. He has taught a total of 15 classes to 3 schools, Plumosa Elementary, Pine Grove Elementary, and SD Spady Elementary. He also does an aftercare presentation at SD Spady Elementary with a total of 224 4th and 5th grade students so far this year. By year's end, he will have taught the program to every 4th and 5th grade student at both Pine Grove and Plumosa Elementary Schools for a total of between 300 and 315 students. Due to the efforts of Officer Berkman, the Palm Beach County School Police are presenting the GREAT program in 19 elementary schools and 1 middle school for a total of approximately 987 instructed students. He's also developed a working relationship with alcohol, tobacco, and firearms agents, Vince Holmes, whose agency supplies the rewards that we issue to our graduating participants, so says the writer. As described, Officer Berkman has done an exceptional job with the development of the GREAT program at the Palm Beach County School District. He should be commended for his outstanding dedication and performance. Officer Samuel Berkman.
Thank you very much, but without the support of the department and my fellow officers, this program would not be successful, but it will be in this county. Thank you.
For the category of Lifetime Achievement, the nominees are, from the Jupiter Police Department, retired Captain Michael Goad. From the Palm Beach Gardens Police Department, retired Assistant Chief Rick Fasheen. From the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, Lieutenant Jeffrey Jackson. Corporal Robert Mooney as well. And the honoree for the category of Lifetime Achievement is, from the Palm Beach Gardens Police Department, Assistant Chief Rick Fasheen. Rick Fasheen began his law enforcement career in 1984 in Pennsylvania. In 1986, he accepted a position with the Palm Beach Gardens Police Department. During his 29 years with the department, he rose through the ranks, retiring on May 1st, 2015 at the rank of Assistant Chief. Rick's assignments include patrol officer, detective, motor officer, and he was assigned to the Palm Beach County's MAN unit and Violent Crimes Task Force. As a supervisor, he was responsible for specialized units, including K-9, SWAT, hostage negotiations, and dive team. He has a particular expertise in statement analysis and was responsible for many significant investigations, arrests, and administrative projects which helped shape the history of the department. Rick possesses almost uncanny observational skills and is able to see something that most people would overlook, while at the same time factoring every minute detail into the big picture. Regardless of the rank he held throughout his career, he never lost his love of good old-fashioned police work and was unofficially known as old school shiny shoes for his willingness to respond to any call, from a traffic stop to a foot chase to a murder investigation. Assistant Chief Fasheen also maintained a quest for knowledge throughout his career. He graduated from Northwood University with a bachelor's degree in business administration in 2000, from the FBI's National Academy in 2005, and the FBI's Executive Leadership Development Training in 2010. His personal accomplishments include his 11,897-mile motorcycle ride from Key West to Alaska and back in 24 days. 24 days. It's known as the Iron Butt Ride. I think I'm allowed to say butt on TV. Rick Fasheen has served as unwavering dedication and commitment throughout his exemplary career. In recognition of his many contributions and accomplishments, the Palm Beach Gardens Police Department respectfully submits him for the 2015 ASIS Lifetime Achievement Award, Assistant Chief Rick Fasheen.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the members of ASIS and all the corporate sponsors and PGA National Resort for making this wonderful event possible for us once again. I'd like to thank Chief Stepp and my coworkers for nominating me for this award, and I'd just like to say that I'm proud and honored to stand alongside each and every one of you. Thank you.
The next category is Excellence in Criminal Investigations, and the nominees are from the Boynton Beach Police Department, Detective Brent Joseph and Agent John Kautz. From the Florida Highway Patrol, did I do something wrong? Excuse me? Oh, please stand when you hear your name. I'll try to stay on that. All right. So when you hear your name, Brent Joseph and Agent John Kautz. From the Florida Highway Patrol, Trooper Nelson Tenio. From the Fort Pierce Police Department, Detective Gary Eason. From the Jupiter Police Department, Agent Nathan Baird. From the Lantana Police Department, Investigator Troy Schaaf. From the Palm Beach Gardens Police Department, Officer Dorian Hawkins. From the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, Detectives Thomas Kelly, Daniel Shea, Aaron Giannotti, Ken Kaminsky, Paige McCann, and Deputies Mark Reamer and Carlos Valencia, and Sergeant Timothy McCann. From the Port St. Lucie Police Department, Detectives, there's more, Kevin Kaminsky, Dean Herzog, Matthew Cuba, please stand. From the Riviera Beach Police Department, Captain Travis Walker. From the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office, Detectives Michelle Hernandez and Paul Taylor. Deputies Todd Hogan, Jake Rettler, Drew Sosby, Ben Debliak, and Sergeant Byron Harbin. From the Stewart Police Department, Corporal Michael Rice. From the Vero Beach Police Department, Detective Brad Metz. And from the West Palm Beach Police Department, Officer Kathy Cognetti. The honoree for the category of Excellence in Criminal Investigation is, from the Lantana Police Department, Investigator Troy Schaaf. In October of 2014, Lantana Police Investigator Troy Schaaf initiated an investigation that resulted in the arrest of suspects of over $197,000 seized due to the innovative tactics used by investigator Troy Schaaf. The investigation began at the Carlisle, located in the town of Lantana, where it was discovered that an employee embezzled over $100,000. Using her husband's name, the employee was able to hide that money. Investigator Schaaf also determined this employee had invested the money in retirement accounts and was actually making a profit off of the embezzled money. Isn't that fun? Using innovative investigative techniques, Investigator Schaaf uncovered this entire scheme and worked diligently to make an arrest of the perpetrator and recover the monies taken from the victims, recognizing that conventional investigations would just lead to the arrest of the perpetrator and the loss of the monies was very likely, which in years of consumer work, I can count on one hand how many times people were made whole. We got the guys, but, very seldom do you get the money back, right? Investigator Schaaf focused on the civil forfeiture aspects, while other investigators collaborated with the criminal investigation. Using the civil forfeiture process as a tool in criminal investigations and an aid in combating white-collar crime, Investigator Schaaf seized over $197,000. The tracking of the money also implicated several other suspects who were involved in this case and later arrested. The perpetrators in the case had very little fear of being caught. Due to the thorough investigation and persistence of Investigator Schaaf, one of the perpetrators pled guilty and agreed to testify against the others. The perpetrator also agreed to forfeit the money seized in this case, allowing the victim to recover from the financial burden created by this crime. Investigator Schaaf should be recognized for his excellence in criminal investigations for this case. Investigator Troy Schaaf.
I just want to say thank you, and that's it.
The next category is for the category of Excellence in Criminal Investigations Task Force. And the honorees Excellence in Criminal Task Force. Is this right? Is that what's next? I wonder how I'm getting backwards with this. Here we go. This is what, yep, back on track. I don't know why my system's off this year. Lost my juice. All right. For the category of Excellence in Criminal Investigations Task Force, the nominees are from the DEA, Supervisory Special Agent J. Michael Gannon, Special Agents David L. Weeks, Victor J. Gobby, when you hear your name, please stand, William R. Linen, Investigative Assistant Christine Lunny, Intelligence Research Specialists Jessica Marino and Ashley N. Keenan. From the FBI, Special Agent Paul Hollinger. From the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office Task Force, Officers Ray Panigua, Carlos Ribeiro, and Agent Gerald Duff. Please stand. From the Jupiter Police Department, Task Force Officer Eric Gilbert. From the Delray Beach Police Department, Task Force Officer Christine M. Suarez. From the West Palm Beach Police Department, Task Force Officer Christian Malta. From the Palm Beach Gardens Police Department, Task Force Officer Thomas Stevenson. From the North Bay Village Police Department, Task Force Officer Peter Guevara. From the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Task Force, Officer Ciso Barrientos. From the U.S. Marshals Service, Senior Inspector Ramdio Ganesh. From the IRS, Special Agent Stephen Robinson. From the U.S. Attorney's Office, Assistant U.S. Attorney John C. McMillan. From the Fort Pierce Police Department, Sergeant James Gagliano. Detectives Benjamin Thayer, David Jones, Charles Davis, Robert Jacques, Robert Sarmento, Paul Kunzo, Michael Denny, Officers Keith Holmes, Doug Brown, Guy Montgomery, and from the West Palm Beach Police Department, Officer Kathleen Cognetti. The honorees for the category of Excellence in Criminal Investigations Task Force is the DEA West Palm Beach District Office Task Force Group. Please come forward. The Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, West Palm Beach District Office, Task Force Group mission is to investigate local, regional, and international drug trafficking organizations, or DTOs for us civilians, working closely with federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies. The task force is committed to conducting investigations of designated organized crime drug enforcement task force. Designated Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force, and a priority target organization as well, with the goal of disrupting, dismantling, and denying revenue to those organizations. Since June of 2013, the West Palm Beach Task Force investigated a large-scale DTO that was based in Palm Beach County, Florida, and in McAllen, Texas, too. The DTO utilized tractor trailers with hidden compartments to smuggle huge quantities of cocaine from Texas here to South Florida. Operation Sangre Blanca, another good one, one of these, was investigated by the DEA Task Force, the West Palm Task Force, the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Border Patrol, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the Internal Revenue Service, United States Marshal Service. The following DEA offices also assisted with the investigation: DEA McAllen District Office, the Corpus Christi Resident Office, DEA Financial Operations Section, and the Special Operations Division 2. The DEA West Palm Task Force was responsible for coordinating all of it. That's a lot. It's a lot of coming and going. The large-scale DTO had been operating undetected while smuggling in excess of 1,000 kilograms of cocaine from McAllen, Texas, into Palm Beach County, the Palm Beach County area, since 2009. During this really complex investigation, the task force here on stage utilized a plethora of investigative techniques to include Title III wiretaps, undercover operations, electronic and physical surveillance, grand jury subpoenas, review of grand jury records, electronic surveillance cameras, and GPS tracking devices. Based on the extraordinary investigative skills and management skills of individuals who worked on the investigation, on June 23, 2014, agents executed 8 federal arrest warrants originating from the Southern District of Florida and conducted numerous search warrants in South Florida and in McAllen, Texas. Bottom line, 8 guys went to jail. Was it guys and gals? A mix? A mix, okay. 8 bad people went to jail. During the arrests and search warrants, this task force seized approximately 18 high-valued vehicles, a 32-foot Black Hawk vessel, and numerous pieces of high-value jewelry. All assets seized were valued at approximately $1 million. Agents, this is fun, also seized approximately 15 firearms, including 2 AK-47s, 2 AR-15s, one with a grenade launcher, and a semi-tractor trailer truck containing a hidden compartment. Once again, a round of applause for these men and women.
I'd just like to take this time to thank everybody for this award and everybody that worked on this investigation. We certainly couldn't have done it without a collaborative effort from all agencies, and thank ASIS and all the corporate sponsors for this event. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Stuff. For the category of Dispatcher of the Year, please stand when you hear your name. The nominees are, from the Delray Beach Police Department, Communications Supervisor Laura Mannion, Communications Specialist Lisa Brooks, from the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, Duty Officer Magda Pereira, from the Florida Highway Patrol Regional Duty Officers, Regional Duty Officers Steve Solomon and Dana Zamorelli. From the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, Communications Officer Nicole Armsey. From the Sebastian Police Department, and welcome Sebastian this year, to the Sebastian Police Department, Dispatch Supervisor Gloria Brown. And from the West Palm Beach Police Department, Telecommunicator Dispatcher Michelle Mackey. The honoree for the category of Dispatcher of the Year is, from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, Nicole Armsey. Nicole Armsey is a professional and dedicated communications officer. In addition to her regular duties, she is an instructor at Santa Lucia's Criminal Justice Academy program, which prepares students for careers in law enforcement. On June 18, 2014, Nicole Armsey received a call from a subject stating that he was lost, in the J.W. Corbett Wildlife Area with several youths. That's 60,000 plus acres, by the way. The caller was in a panic as he was with several children, and they were all struggling in the water. The caller's cell phone was dying, and it was dark. Nicole was able to keep the caller calm for an extended period of time. There was another critical event occurring, and air support was not available. As Nicole was on the phone with this caller, they could hear a buggy in the background. The caller could. Nicole instructed the caller to use their flashlight and signal the buggy for assistance. At the same time, she's also, by the way, coordinating for medical instruction with EMS for children who are exhibiting signs of hypothermia. Due to Nicole's quick thinking, the missing group was located and received the help they need. Then, on May 26, 2014, Nicole answered a 911 cell phone call from a 10-year-old boy who was reporting that he had found his sister, a 2-year-old, lying in a bathtub of water, and his mother was unresponsive in another room. The young boy was unsure of his address. Nicole developed a quick rapport with this young male and kept him focused on trying to obtain his address. Numerous times, this young man broke down on the phone, stating that he thought his sister was dead during that 13-minute call. Nicole kept him calm, talking and looking outside for landmarks and other building numbers as well. She had a coworker relay information to an adjoining municipality, and as the area sounded like it might be a different jurisdiction, she got that out of it as well. And she continued to relay every piece of information she was getting about his whereabouts to everybody who was trying to respond. As she was having him, at the same time, bang on a neighbor's door, right as she was having him do that, he saw a police officer pulling in. When the officer arrived, Nicole got him on the phone and advised them quickly that there was a 2-year-old in the bathtub and that the other child had possibly been drugged, that the 10-year-old had possibly been drugged, and thus, because she disseminated this information and told that police officer that the 10-year-old possibly had been drugged, she probably saved that young man's life. Nicole Armsey.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, a 100% team effort, so I want to thank everyone.
For the category of Chief, Sheriff, Commander of the Year, the nominees are, from the Fort Pierce Police Department, retired Chief Sean R. Baldwin. From the Riviera Beach Police Department, Chief Clarence Williams III. Please stand when you hear your name. And from the West Palm Beach Police Department, Assistant Chief Sarah Mooney. And the honoree for the category of Chief, Sheriff, Commander of the Year is, from the Riviera Beach Police Department, Chief Clarence D. Williams III. Chief Clarence Williams has over 40 years of service as a police officer. Chief Williams started his career in the city of Cincinnati, Ohio. Chief Williams has been Chief of Police in Riviera since 2002. He's no stranger to community service and activism. His involvement in community service spans several decades and includes the following organizations and commissions: NAACP, Cincinnati Branch, State of Ohio Minority Police Advisory Task Force, Ohio Governor's Commission on Socially Disadvantaged Black Males, and President of Golden Bears Youth Baseball Program, Hawks Youth Basketball, and Hilltop Youth Football Program. That's where you get in, right? Chief Williams' professional career includes outstanding achievements in law enforcement and the legal profession. He is a graduate of the University of Cincinnati School of Arts and Sciences, where he earned a dual degree in both criminal justice and political science. Chief Williams demonstrated the ability to multitask while working as a patrol officer for the City of Cincinnati Police Department. He earned his law degree. Incredible. Chief Clarence Williams' leadership has proven invaluable in the city of Riviera Beach and his citizens. This is proven, and that we can work as a team and we can achieve excellence. That's under his leadership, so says the writer. Under the leadership of Chief Williams, this agency has a 47% drop in crime. This agency homicide clearance rate is, in 2013 rather, was 80%. The national average, by the way, during that period was 62.5%. Chief Williams, knowing the importance of technology in crime resolution, made sure that his agency was on the cutting edge with its police technology platform. Riviera Beach was the first agency in the state of Florida to deploy ShotSpotter technology. The agency coined the TOP, technology-oriented policing. They coined that. This dedicated police professional sought perfection throughout his career, the writer says. He never achieved perfection. What he did achieve was excellence because of his dedicated service. This is why he is truly deserving of this Lifetime Achievement Award. Chief Clarence D. Williams.
Thank you, ACES, for this recognition, and to the awards committee. It just demonstrates if you hang around anything, doing anything for a period of time, that good things can happen to you. So thank you so very much for this recognition. Is Chief Jenkins in the room? Would you please stand? Chief Stepp, is he still here? Chief Stepp, Chief Jenkins, I want to thank you for embracing a young police chief 13 years ago and assuring that he would have a successful stay here in Palm Beach County. You did this unselfishly. Thank you, gentlemen. You contributed to this success. Last but certainly not least, chiefs understand that it is daunting to have your success tied to how well others do their job. I'm successful because I have a successful team. My Riviera Beach family, would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you so very much. You deserve this as much as I do. Thank you so very much.
For the category of Police Officer Deputy of the Year, the nominees are, from the Florida Highway Patrol, Trooper Paul Asrup. From the Jupiter Police Department, Officer Elizabeth Jurek. From the Riviera Police Department, Riviera Beach Police Department, Agent Warren Podiat, Officer Lavin Price. And from the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office, Deputy Phaedra Campbell. And the honoree for the category of Police Officer Deputy of the Year is, from the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office, Deputy Phaedra Campbell. The St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office proudly nominates 8-year veteran Deputy Phaedra Campbell for the ASIS Police Officer Deputy of the Year Award. Phaedra Deputy Campbell is a proactive school resource deputy who consistently makes high-quality arrests. She also promotes a positive relationship between the community and the Sheriff's Office. She has facilitated community partnerships with a major real estate development company, Tradition, and a major retailer, Walgreens. Deputy Campbell directs children caught on campus with drugs to diversion and other programs. She helps parents and students deal with the behaviors that lead to drug abuse rather than simply making arrests for minor crimes. Her considerable interpersonal skills and compassion for crime victims, they were evident in a case where a high school student was attacked in an auditorium and was uncomfortable discussing that attack. Deputy Campbell established a rapport with the student and gained her confidence. The student confided in Deputy Campbell that she had been raped by another student there at the high school. Deputy Campbell obtained a confession from the aggressor, which led to his arrest for sexual battery on a minor. When necessary, Deputy Campbell fiercely protects the safety of the educational environment. An example was when the high school dean brought a student to his office for dealing drugs. Listen to this. The student walked out of the office and told the dean he was armed. Deputy Campbell fiercely chased the suspect, who threw some objects over a fence. The deputy drew her weapon and took the suspect into custody. A later search revealed the suspect had discarded a soft drink bottle full of liquid MDMA ecstasy and a fully functional .38 caliber semi-automatic pistol with a serial number scratched off. In this case, the deputy also obtained a confession. Deputy Phaedra Campbell.
Thank you all. I was not anticipating actually winning, so I'm very humbled at this experience. Thank you for my Sheriff's Department for actually putting me in for this award. Thank the organization for having this award possible. I want to say thank you to God because He put me here first. Thank you to my family for constantly supporting me every day. And thank you to the deans and beautiful children that I serve every day. I really appreciate my job, and I love it. Thank you.
For the category of Corrections Officer of the Year, we have one nominee and one honoree. So, the honoree for Officer of the Year is from the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office, Deputy David Thiessen. The St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office proudly nominates Deputy David Thiessen for the ASIS Corrections Officer of the Year Award. Deputy Thiessen was a 20-year member of the Broward County Sheriff's Office before joining the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office in 2004 in the Department of Detention. Deputy Thiessen has a passion for education. For the past 4 years, he has been assigned to adult education classes. During this time, 120 student inmates have graduated from the adult education program. Deputy Thiessen has encouraged them to work hard in their classes and apply themselves, right? Because we don't want them coming back out like they went in. He assists the teachers by providing a positive role model and by guiding the students in positive directions. His words of encouragement have inspired dozens of students. Kim Taylor, the lead adult education instructor there, had this evaluation of Deputy Thiessen. She said, "I do not hesitate to endorse the effort and integrity of Deputy Thiessen. In addition to providing security for our classroom, he is an integral part of the students' success. Under his leadership, I've been able to teach in an environment that is orderly and conducive to learning. He has a rare quality of mixing discipline with old-fashioned common sense. A chastised student will not learn. An enlightened one will." In his spare time, Deputy Thiessen, now in his mid-70s, enjoys running marathons. On and off duty, Deputy David Thiessen leads by example. Deputy David Thiessen.
I'd like to thank Sheriff's Office for nominating me, and the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office is the finest sheriff's office that in the county, in the area. Anyway, I thank everybody, and I appreciate it.
For the category of life-saving, the nominees are from the Delray Beach Police Department, Officer Adam Whiting. From the Fort Pierce Police Department, Officer Keith Holmes. From the Jupiter Police Department, Officers Scott Kimbark, Sally Collins, and Agent Nathan Baird. From the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, Sergeant Craig Laufer, Deputies James Murphy, Evane Moreland, Joanne Reed, and Sergeant Matthew King. From the Port St. Lucie Police Department, Officer Jason Chapman. From the Sebastian Police Department, Corporal Ron Carlson. From the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office, Deputy David Snow. From the West Palm Beach Police Department, Sergeants James Graves, Gregory Simonian, Officers Christopher Chase, Ryan Veneer, Ivy Earhart, Gregory McDonald, Moore Silva. Also recognized and nominated from the West Palm Beach Fire Rescue, Captains Brent Bloomfield, Amgad Zaki, Lieutenant James Watt. Firefighters Brent Heller, Engelbert Pellissier, Ivan Bustamante, and Nicholas Floyd. The honoree for the category of life-saving is, from the Delray Beach Police Department, Officer Adam Whiting. On April 16, 2014, Officer Adam Whiting and several other officers responded to a structure fire located at 1026 Delaire Court Apartment B. Officer Whiting arrived on scene and was immediately approached by an elderly female coming from the listed location that was obviously engulfed with smoke and fire. The elderly female stated to him that her husband was still inside the residence and was trapped in his bedroom. Without hesitation and disregard for his own safety, Officer Whiting and another officer rushed inside the smoke-filled apartment in search of this victim. However, they were overtaken by the smoke and they had to retreat back outside for air. Those hazardous circumstances did not waver his resolve to assist this resident, and he ran to his patrol vehicle to retrieve his air-purifying respirator, his APR mask, while completely aware of the fact that this particular mask would not completely protect him and is not designed to deter the dangers of smoke inhalation. Officer Whiting knew he had to do something. He donned the APR, returned back inside the burning structure, while the other officers waited outside for DBFD, you're hazing me again, Delray Beach Fire Department, to arrive. As he re-entered the structure for a second time, he could hear a faint cry for help coming from a bedroom located halfway down a hallway, well inside the smoke-filled structure. As he attempted to open the bedroom door, listen to this, he noticed that the door had sustained damage and was lodged shut, truly trapping the elderly man. He couldn't get out. He could sense that the smoke had penetrated the APR mask he was wearing as it filled with smoke that nearly rendered him helpless. But before he retreated outside for air, he thought quickly to use his foot to kick the door open, thus providing free passage for the occupant in the room to get out and get to safety. His actions enabled that elderly victim to escape out of the bedroom and onto his patio to safety, where he was able to get fresh air. The victim was moments from being overcome by smoke and quite possibly succumbing to the smoke. During this process, Officer Whiting had taken on a significant amount of smoke in his lungs, which later required Delray Beach Fire Rescue personnel to administer pure oxygen to him. The victim required the same treatment, by the way. Officer Whiting's actions clearly demonstrated bravery and resolute fearlessness at the risk of personal life in a dangerous situation, which is above and beyond the call of duty, and without deterring him from his mission. It is quite evident that had he not taken these actions that he did, the elderly victim would have perished in this horrific ordeal. Officer Adam Whiting.
It's humbling to be up here because I know any officer that's ever worked the road for any length of time could easily be getting this. Every officer has touched and probably saved somebody else's life. So to be recognized very much.
For the category of valor, the nominees are, from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, Deputy David Abho. From the Palm Beach County School District Police Department, Officer Officer Jason Barquin. And the honoree for the category of valor is, from the West Palm Beach Police Department, Officer Jason Barquin. On Saturday, August 23rd, 2014, at approximately 19:06 hours, the West Palm Beach Police Department got a 911 call in reference to an armed robbery. The suspect in this case stole a bicycle from the yard of 440 Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard. The owner of the bike witnessed the crime and confronted the suspect, who pulled a gun out of his waistband and pointed it at the victim. The victim retreated to his yard while the victim's uncle called police. The suspect was described as a black male armed with a handgun, wearing all black with dreadlock hairstyle pulled up into a ponytail. The suspect was last seen riding the stolen bicycle westbound on L.A. Kirksey, 15th Street from Spruce Avenue. Officer Barquin was in his marked police car circulating the area of the last known location of the suspect. He located the suspect on Spruce Avenue near 16th Street riding the robbery victim's stolen bike. Officer Barquin told the suspect to stop. The suspect raised his middle finger and said, "I'm not answering that." Hazing me again. He said, "Something to you," and pedaled westbound on 15th Street, followed by Officer Barquin in his vehicle. Officer Barquin caught up to the suspect in the 500 block of 15th Street and again told the suspect to stop. The suspect replied, "Something to you. And you ain't got nothing," except he didn't say nothing, "on me." Officer Barquin drove past the suspect and got out of his car. The suspect stopped on the bicycle and asked Officer Barquin, "Why you with me?" Beep. 5-second delay. Officer Barquin attempted to pat down the suspect for the gun. He patted down the suspect for the gun, but the suspect took off eastbound on foot. Officer Barquin caught up to the suspect, who turned and started fighting with Officer Barquin. Officer Barquin took the suspect to the ground. The suspect started throwing his elbows and was able to get up off the ground and break free from Officer Barquin's attempt to control him. Officer Barquin unholstered his taser, fired it at the suspect, but apparently only one taser probe made solid contact, and therefore it was not effective. The suspect pulled a firearm from his waistband and fired at Officer Barquin. Fortunately, the shot missed. Officer Barquin dropped his taser and unholstered his firearm. He returned fire as he backed away to create distance from this deadly force situation. Officer Joseph Myers arrived in the 500 block of 15th Street, and the suspect was breaking free from Officer Barquin's control. He witnessed the remainder of this incident, and he realized the suspect and the officer were shooting at each other. Officer Myers believed Officer Barquin was shot as he saw him fall on his back in the middle of the street. And after verifying Officer Barquin had not been shot, he turned his attention to the suspect. The suspect was lying on his back in a driveway suffering from gunshot wounds. The officers provided first aid until West Palm Beach Fire Rescue responded and treated the suspect. He was transported to St. Mary's Hospital, where he died from his injuries. The subsequent investigation, including an independent Palm Beach County State Attorney's Office investigation, determined the use of deadly force was justified. West Palm Beach Police Chief Brian Cummerland determined the use of force was within department guidelines. The incident was witnessed by 2 civilians and was captured on a church security camera. All accounts of this incident matched.
And I want to thank everybody from the West Palm Beach Police Department who was there that night and helped me out with everything and stood by me. Thank you.
I just want to add, he just got off his FTO 2 weeks prior to this. So,
for the category of K-9, the nominees are, from the Delray Beach Police Department, Officer Ryan Frazier. From the Jupiter Police Department, Officers Vincent Curcio, Scott Kimbark, Michael Nicholson, Chad Norman. And from the Sebastian Police Department, Corporal Richie Rivas. The honoree for the category of K-9 is the Jupiter Police Department's K-9 unit officers Vincent Curcio, Scott Kimbark, Michael Nicholson, and Chad Norman. The Jupiter Police Department K-9 unit is staffed with 4 full-time officers who are responsible for one of the highest liability and scrutinized positions in law enforcement. The Jupiter Police Department K-9 unit commonly responds to all high-priority calls for service, search for fugitives, and they conduct narcotic and explosive searches too. Officer Vincent Curcio, Officer Scott Kimbark, and Officer Michael Nicholson have dual-purpose patrol German Shepherds who assist in patrol and detect odors relating to narcotics or explosives. Officer Chad Norman is a bloodhound handler and is used to trail for missing persons and people with cognitive disorders who wander. In the past year, the K-9 unit has deployed over 100 times, and the apprehensions resulted in arrests for such offenses as burglary, robbery, drug possession, and locating missing persons. Throughout the past year, the Jupiter K-9 unit has been involved in numerous special operations and assignments to include burglary, robbery, and narcotics investigations. As I mentioned, the K-9 unit completed over 30 K-9 demonstrations at local schools, clubs, community organizations, and town events in an effort to educate the community about K-9 law enforcement. Due to these K-9 handlers' advanced and specialized training, they have also assisted the Jupiter Police Department in numerous areas of high liability training and instruction to include the use of force, firearms, force on force, OC, baton, taser, and emergency vehicle operations. The K-9 unit provides training to the Jupiter Police Department Explorer Post and all newly hired officers as well. The Jupiter Police Department K-9 unit hosts weekly proficiency training and exposure training for police agencies throughout Palm Beach County and Martin County, too. The aforementioned handlers are extremely dedicated law enforcement officers who are always willing to assist their fellow officers no matter how tedious the task may be. The writer says it is with great honor that I nominate Officers Curcio, Kimbark, Nicholson, and Norman for K-9 Achievement Award.
We'd like to thank everybody in the town of Jupiter for their continued support, and for the Watertown Police Chief, the next time you guys need a dog, you can give us a call.
For the category of Above and Beyond the Call of Duty, the nominees are from the Jupiter Police Department, Officers Elizabeth Raleigh, Jeffrey Turner, John Benegas, Chad Smith, and James Albano. From the Port St. Lucie Police Department, Officer Jim Becker. From the Riviera Beach Police Department, Crime Scene Techs Jennifer Lagomasian, Renee Bassett, Vanessa Lang, and Kimberly Rogers. A round of applause. And the honoree for the category of Above and Beyond the Call of Duty is, from the Jupiter Police Department, Officer Elizabeth Raleigh. During the summer months of 2014, a young mother and her 3 children fled their Martin County residence and moved into a domestic violence shelter. The families had been victims of ongoing verbal abuse and were in fear for their safety. While living in the shelter, Officer Elizabeth Raleigh became aware of their situation and wanted to provide the family assistance. During the course of a month, Officer Raleigh coordinated a fundraiser for this family. The fundraiser raised enough money for the family to move into their own residence, furnish the house with furniture and kitchen supplies, and provide gift cards for food and clothing. Officer Raleigh did a remarkable job with assisting this young family to break the cycle of violence and provide a safe environment for the family to live. Officer Raleigh went above and beyond the call of duty to help provide for this family in need. It is with great honor that the writer nominates Officer Elizabeth Raleigh, the award of Above and Beyond the Call of Duty. Officer Elizabeth Raleigh.
I want to say thank you so much, but I was only a small part of this. The community came together and made this happen, and I'm extremely proud to say this woman is doing great and continuing on. She's working, going back to school, and raising 3 beautiful little kids. Thank you.
I just want to add real quick that she's really amazing. When she came to get the award at the Jupiter Police Department, she's also a foster parent and had just taken custody of 2 infants and came in with 2 babies into the room to get her award. She's just truly amazing, and we're really proud of you.
Our final award for this year's event is called the Chairman's Award. This award is given by the Leo Committee and is indicative of outstanding service and community involvement while maintaining the highest professional standards in the law enforcement profession. The recipient of this year's Chairman Award is from the Fort Pierce Police Department, Officer Keith Holmes. On July 1st, 2014, Officer Holmes, Deputy Sean Kane, and Wesley Sumasak, USCG, United States Coast Guard, were dispatched to the inlet in reference to 5 juveniles trapped on the jetty rocks during Tropical Storm Faye. Officer Holmes tried to throw the juveniles a life ring, and the winds and the currents were really strong that day, as you might imagine. Officer Holmes then grabbed the life ring and jumped into the water and swam over to the rocks. The tide was outgoing, and the swells were an average of 4 feet inside the inlet. Officer Holmes assisted each of the juveniles back to the awaiting patrol vessel. 1 teen was taken to a hospital with a broken collarbone. The other 4 were treated at the Coast Guard stations for cuts and abrasions. Quote, "I thought we were going to die," said Alex Jungheimer's. "It was hard to breathe, and I kept going underwater." The girls were all from Vero Beach, where the Fort Pierce Jetty Beach, and they were at the Fort Pierce Jetty Beach with Jungheimer's mother, Kristen Brennan. That was her name. She said she left for just a couple minutes, and when she came back, she saw the girls paddling in the ocean on their surfboards, being pulled into the rocks and unable to swim away. She said, quote, "I prayed that they would get up on the rocks and that their strength would kick in and that God would kick in and keep them on the rocks," Kathy said. She was shaking uncontrollably and she was crying when she arrived at the Coast Guard station to see her daughter and her friends safely on dry ground. She said again, "I felt so helpless," Brennan said. A bystander called 911, and 3 law enforcement officers responded in a sheriff's office boat. Fort Pierce police officer Keith Holmes grabbed a life ring, dove into the water, and swam to every single girl, paddling them back to the boat one by one. Quote, "It was hard even for me," Holmes said. "The current was so strong I could barely push off the rocks." If we're not there and nobody else assists them, they probably die, said Deputy Sean Kane of the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office. Kane helped pull the girls onto the boat. Wesley Samasuk of the U.S. Coast Guard was piloting that boat. He, along with the other 2 men, refused to accept that they're heroes at all. "It's part of the job," Samasuk said. That
Ladies and gentlemen, please show your appreciation for a great job again by Shannon Cake. Shannon, thank you very much for everything. I just want a few housekeeping things, and then we'll wrap this up. I hope everybody got their gift bags. If you haven't, make sure you do that, please. Photographs, if you haven't picked up your photograph, please make sure you check by the table outside to pick up your photograph. We also have there was a raffle that we had in the lobby on behalf of Public Safety and Family Photography. There's a free setting, and the winner of that is Laura Mannon. So Laura, I have that for you, and I'll give that to you here once we conclude the program. Can I please ask Chaplain Toby to come up?
Let's bow our heads again for a brief closing prayer. Lord, we've been blessed today in so many ways. The honors, candle lighting, and the stories, the heartfelt words, some tears, the remembrance of the fallen, and the rewards of the faithful. God, would you give us a fresh vision and a hope for the future and a passion to make our world a better place. In your name we pray. Amen.
Once again, I'd like to congratulate the nominees and honorees. We cannot, as a committee, thank you enough for being here today and supporting all these efforts. And to close, a quote from one of my favorite shows of all time to all the law enforcement officers: let's be careful out there, guys and girls. Thank you very much for coming. Have a wonderful holiday weekend, and we'll see you all next year.